sending us, that we so desperately need guide, lead, and direct us in this courtroom as we go forth. And forgive us of all of our sins, as we forgive those who sinned against us. We ask all these names in thy name. Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee,
Texas,
one state, under God, one
and indivisible.
Okay, before we get into the visitors forum, I'm just going to do a reminder of the rules of procedure, conduct, and decorum at meetings of the Scurry County Commissioners Court. I'm going to read it. It's going to take just a minute, okay? The business of Scurry County is conducted, and I'm not reading the whole thing, just portions of it, is conducted by and between the members of the Scurry County Commissioners Court and by those members of the county staff, elected officials, department heads, consultants, experts, and or members of the public requested to be present and participate. While the public is invited to attend all meetings of the Commissioners Court except executive sessions, the public's participation therein is limited to that of observers unless a member or members of the public is requested to address the Commissioners Court on a particular issue or issues, or unless the member or members of the public completes a public participation form and submits same to the county clerk prior to the time of the agenda item or items is addressed by the court. Each member of the public who appears before the Commissioners Court shall be limited to a maximum of 5 minutes to make his or her remarks. Time for each speaker shall be maintained by the county clerk or other such designee. I'm going to keep the time today because I haven't been reminded Ms. Alberton about this. Maximum discussion on any agenda item, regardless of the number of members of the public wishing to address the Commissioners Court on such agenda item or items, shall be limited to 30 minutes. In the event that more than 6 members of the public wish to address a particular agenda item or items, then only the first 6 members of the public recognized to speak shall be divided equally between those members of the public wishing to speak for the agenda item or items and those members of the public wishing to speak against the agenda item or items. A representative of a group may appoint one as their speaker. It is the intention of the court to provide an open access to the citizens of Scurry County to address the Commissioners Court and to express themselves on issues of county government. Members of the public are reminded that the Scurry County Commissioners Court is a constitutional court with both judicial and legislative powers, created under Article 5, Section 1, and Section 18 of the Texas Constitution. As a constitutional court, the Scurry County Commissioners Court also possesses the power to issue a contempt of court citation under Section 81.024 of the Texas Local Government Code. Accordingly, all members of the public in attendance at any regular, special, and or emergency meeting of the court shall conduct themselves with proper respect and decorum in speaking to and or addressing the court, in participating in public discussions before the court, and in all actions in the presence of the court. Proper attire for men, women, and children is mandatory. Those members of the public who are inappropriately attired and or who do not conduct themselves in an orderly and appropriate manner will be ordered to leave the meeting. Refusal to abide by the court's order and or continued disruption of the meeting may result in a contempt of court citation. Now, it's not the intention of the Scurry County Commissioners Court to provide, to provide a public forum for the demeaning of any individual or group. Neither is it the intention of the court to allow a member or members of the public to insult the honesty and or integrity of the court as a body or any member or members of the court individually or collectively. Accordingly, profane, insulting, or threatening language directed toward the court and or any person in the court's presence and or racial, ethnic, or gender slurs or epithets will not be tolerated. Violations of these rules may result in the following sanctions: cancellation of the speaker's remaining time, removal from the Commissioner's Court, a contempt citation, and or such other civil and or criminal sanctions as may be authorized under the Constitution, statutes, and codes of the state of Texas. These rules of procedure, conduct, and decorum shall also apply to such town meetings and public hearings. Okay, and I say this just as a reminder. We're not here to demean anybody. We're here to conduct the county's business. Okay, just a reminder. Thank you. At this time, any person with business before the court not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the court. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. All right, Morgan's already stood, so Mr. West, Morgan West.
I'd like to speak on transparency today. Y'all, everybody, I've heard from all of y'all that you want to be more transparent. Well, you currently have in place a limit of $50,000 before a bid is required. This needs to be reduced to roughly $15,000. And then on top of that, all bids need to be open and read in Commissioner's Court. If a local business is within 10%, they should be given the opportunity to match the low bid. I've seen many items in the county inventory that were purchased in the $49,500 range. Taxpayers do not know if this is a $60,000 or a $40,000 item in real value. That's why the bids need to be there. And I do want to compliment one thing. I appreciate that y'all are videoing this now and listening to people. And I was up at Melody's office last Friday, and she agreed to be more transparent by posting all the Commissioners' Court meeting minutes after they are read and approved by y'all at the next meeting. This is a good thing. And she said she could go back as far as 2008. That eliminates a lot of people having to go to her office, request a deal. Like I say, if she doesn't know what day it was 5 years ago, it's difficult to find. You know, it'll let the people sit there and do so on their own time. And I also would like to thank her. I went and visited Angela, and she told me that Ms. Appleton had a person either retire or quit, and she didn't replace her. And when I was talking to Melody, I told her thank you about that, because we've got to cut some workforce down here. So she said, yeah, why have 3 people staring at a computer when I've got 2 that can take care of the job? Well, I've heard that Ricky Webb is also really restraining her budget down in Precinct 2 of JP Court. So anyway, people that are really trying to cut on spending, I applaud them. Anyway, that's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Board. Mr. Playmice.
Thank you. Good morning. I'd like to address you this morning about decorum of the court. These are the legal definitions. Decorum is defined as proper behavior, good behavior. Bullying, repeated or persistent or aggressive behavior intended to cause fear, distress, or harm to another person's body, emotions, self-esteem, or reputation. The narrative, a story or account of experience or the like, whether true or fictitious. On 7/30/2019, the meeting of this court, in my opinion, there was a bullying and a lack of decorum while discussing the budget narrative, a narrative that a member of this court inferred in writing his own questions to answer about the budget during a radio spot. I hope that was a joke. The disparaging remark came in the form of a comment about loud citizens, and laughter erupted. This is an obvious breakdown of decorum of the court, yet I did not hear the judge comment. Upon review of this video, in my opinion, this court's decorum is just as fictitious as its budget narrative. I appreciate the time to speak and look forward to reporting what I see from a more conservative point of view. At this point, I would ask the court to consider some real facts that will affect the future of this county. Number one, oil production is following a declining curve. Number two, the stock market hyper bubble, very similar as the housing bubble of 08 and 09. Number three, oil futures calling for less than $20 a barrel. Number four, precious metals upgraded to a tier 1 asset. Number five, spending of resources on future projects not heard by the court publicly. Number six, the purchase of sinking assets. Number seven, overfunding of departments which are redundant to the majority of the citizens. Number eight, the currency unhooked from the petrodollar or the end of the petrodollar. Number nine, return of industry to America. Has anyone pursued it for Scurry County? Number 10, continued decline in the county population. And I have these if you'd like to read them. That's the end.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vice.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
I
Yes,
had a question, and I don't know, but the last meeting, it was given a lot of discussion about raises, and I was trying to determine, it was said that you could not give raises to people individually, that it had to be given across the board. Is that a raise period, or is that only cost of living?
Okay, that item is not on the agenda, so we can't discuss it today.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah. A couple of years after getting hired by the county, including the air conditioning system that began to be worked on here at the courthouse, I noticed that we went from pinching pennies to spending in earnest. And so I was listening closely to what the justification was for all of this, and it began with that we needed to get permanent solutions to the things that we needed, the infrastructure that we needed, rather than investing in a false economy, which would require repetitive, costly repairs. If we hadn't done this at that time and we held on to the reserves, from what I've seen from a maintenance perspective, I believe that we would have dipped into those funds anyway. It would have been depleted somewhat from those repairs. And I can see the wisdom in what was done. I kind of figured if I just remain silent and not give my perspective, that it would reflect. So as a salaried employee, you expect me to say these things, but it was a concern to me. The justification was a concern to me, and I have seen the fruit that has been born of those decisions. So I just wanted to put that out there and shed a little bit different light on this thing. It's not all negative. Yes, it's true that there was some overspending, there was some frivolous spending, but the bulk of that spending was very necessary. And it's to the point that now we have very few large projects we need to spend on. So, it was, and these are the hard decisions that they're paid to make. It's the public's job to hold their feet to the fire. I understand that. But they made these decisions, and I believe we have officials who are going to be faithful with what we have left. So that's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you, Doug. Okay. All right, we will now move on to your presentations and discussion of department head, committee, and board reports. I've looked through these, and if everybody else has it. I just want to make one comment here about some of these, and that's the AgriLife Extension Service. I don't know if anybody's actually seen what the AgriLife Extension Service does just in one particular area, the 4-H. I went to their award ceremony last week, and it was fantastic what they're doing. And it's not just a few kids, they have lots of kids. And you wouldn't think that the little bit of money that they get would make a big impact, but it is a Rhonda and Greg are running it's Rhonda White and Greg Rubin, all right? They are running a fantastic program over there, and they have some great kids and great parents that are involved in that. And I just wanted to give them kudos today for what they're doing. So, and this just, their board report just doesn't explain everything that they do. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Second that.
Yeah, thank you. Very good. Discussion on those. Okay. Court to consider approval of previous minutes.
I remember that's the way it all happened, so I make a motion to approve previous minutes.
Second. All in favor? Consider inter-precinct project scheduling stack. Anything going on? Anything we need to discuss?
Dry weather.
Dry weather, it is dry.
Chance of rain today.
Is there?
Today and tomorrow.
There's always a chance.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Court to discuss and consider bids submitted to replace current lighting with LED bulbs or fixtures at the law enforcement center and courthouse. Okay, my understanding is there's a bit of confusion on what we're looking at here. All right. This is a budget neutral proposal. One way. In that, if we pay $1,000 for an electric bill each month, if we go with one of these proposals, we'll pay, instead of paying Encore or whoever our provider is, just throwing a name out there, it's probably not Encore, it's probably somebody else. I don't want that turned around. But if we're paying the electric company $1,000 a month, if we accept the proposal and get the lights changed, we will continue to pay the electric company half of that, $500. The rest is savings. With that savings, for 42 months on one proposal, 4.8 years, no, I'm sorry, 7 years on another, and 8 years on the other proposal, we take those savings and pay them to that company. We're still paying $1,000 a month, no more, no less. Now, if we choose, if we pay it off early, that's it. We start getting those savings then. If it takes longer, or if there's more owed after the end of that 42 months, they eat that. That's on them. Okay, we don't go any longer than that period of time. So, like I said, I know there's been some confusion on take it out of the budget. It's not in the budget. If we take it out of the budget, we're taking out paying the electric bill. That's basically what that boils down to. So there's no additional money. So when I tell you these numbers for these different companies, It's not in addition to what we're paying. It's in place of what we're paying for part of that electric bill. Okay? So Excel Energy, in their bid, their annual savings, including maintenance, they say that it's $19,560. The cost is $100,000. All right, to get that $100,000 back, it'll take 5.1 years at the $19,560 in savings. Okay, they would want semi-annual payments of $7,469. $14,938 is the annual payment. Their financing is 4.25% over 8 years. The warranty on the product is 5 to 10 years, depending on the fixture or the bulb. Okay, that is, there's a percentage in the financing. I'm not crazy about that. Gexa Energy, they are claiming the annual savings is $29,718. The cost from them would be $138,279. Payback is an average of 4.8 years. So they're saying that to get that $138,000 back, it'll take 4.8 years. Don't know what the payments are. Financing would be 7 years at 3% range. Maintenance coverage is 7 years. Warranty and materials and workmanship is 1 year. With Lime, who was the original company that came in, annual savings would be $31,862.81. The cost is $98,147.40. Payback is 2 years and 7 months, so it's really quick payback. Payments are $2,661.24. And like we said, that's the saving from the electric bill. Financing, it's the savings difference of the electric bill over 42 months. The warranty is 1 to 10 years, depending on the fixture or part. Sensors or screw in LED labor is not covered. And the 1 year is just minor stuff. So if they replace the whole light fixture, the warranties are 7 to 10 years, depending on what it is. Some of the bulbs are about that long too. So after looking over all of these, the original presentation was from Lime. And with them, they are, one company, I believe it was Gexa, said that there are no additional incentives from Encore. But with Lime, they are part of this Main Street. They are the provider for this Main Street program. And I'm going to make a recommendation that we and pay from the difference of what our electric bill is. Not add anything to the budget, but pay the difference in what the electric bill is to them. And in 42 months, we see those savings. So that's my proposal.
Second.
All in favor? All against? All right. Thank you. Court considering this, discuss and consider bids submitted for online auctioneering service. Okay, we had 3 bids for auctioneering services. Ben Royston his services were 4.99% commission plus 5% online buyer's premium. Renee Bates was 7.5% commission. GovDeals is 12.5% commission. Not just the money is what needs to be looked at, it's what they've done and what they are doing. GovDeals is pretty big. Renee Bates is pretty big. They're both, well, GovDeals is nationwide. Renee Bates is statewide and do some other states as well. Ben Royston is fairly local. He's out of Seminole. Looking at their websites, I think Renee Bates would be the best option for this one as far as what their commission is and all that. So,
That's kind of what I gathered from looking at it. The point is, we have a bunch of stuff that we're running out of places to put because of it being county. You can't chunk it legally. gonna bring much of nothing, but it's not bringing much of nothing doing what it's doing right now. Setting in a building somewhere
I agree.
for cluttering up the precinct yard.
It ain't no good. We ought to get rid of it. One way or the other.
It'll be good to somebody.
Okay.
Man's trash.
That's right.
I'll make the motion, we accept the auctioneer bid for Renee Bates.
All right. All in favor? All right, court to consider accepting donations to county entities.
This is the part I like.
Absolutely. We got some for everybody.
How'd I get that?
I'm sorry.
So how'd I get the original bill? There's the original. That's the only one I had. But
I'll make the motion, we accept the donation to all the county entities.
Which is the senior center.
Yes.
Second. All in favor?
Terry. That's the only one we have, a senior center,
Yes,
no library. Or,
ma'am. No. Court to discuss, or court to consider approval of second quarter treasurer's report.
Thank you, Judge. I hope with some of the paperwork I passed out, I hope that it's not confusing, maybe it'll make things a little more clear. We ended the second quarter with a cash balance of $11,554,949.26. This is, can I read that for just a second? This is what I publish in the newspaper, and this is every account that we have, payroll clearing, abandoned vehicle. Some of these are accounts that are memorial, like with the senior center. And so it's an overall total of all funds in every account that we have. And let's see here. We earned in our interest for the quarter $85,672.55 compared to the first quarter of $96,406.37. This created a decrease by $10,733.82. Our interest earned year to date was $182,078.92 compared to a year ago of $99,514.03, which that gave us an increase by $82,564.98. Our investments are earning at a rate of, at Tex Pool, it's 2.3812%, Texas Class 2.4100%, FICA account that's with Stonecastle is 2.2184%, and we always compare it to an average 90-day T-bill of 2.0800%. This that I handed out is the totals that is in our investment accounts. not at West Texas. It's broke down by Texas Class, Stonecastle, and Texas Pool. General has a total from these three places of 5,706,111.73. Road and Bridge can only be used for Road and Bridge is 2,306,296.70. The interest and sinking fund that we pay our jail payment, we have $400,926. Hermley Waterworks, $111,367.72. The general, our general account revenue received at the end of June, we received 82.44% in revenue. So that's what that's how much revenue we've received just for general. On this list, as you can see, I've got the airport at 102,792.04 and EMS at 296,924.63. If the court needed to, we could take some of that money to put in the general. These others we can't touch, except for what they're designated for. Judge, and you can stop me if I'm wrong, I just want to say that there's been some information put out there that's not quite correct I can speak for my office. What I budgeted last year and possibly the year before, I turn back money. I don't spend everything that I budgeted. So, and I think there's a lot of other departments that are probably the same way. I can't speak for them. But anyway, I submit this report for your approval. If you have questions, I will sure try to answer.
Thank you, Melvin.
Thanks.
Any questions?
Make a motion, we approve the second quarter's report.
Second. All in favor? All right, court will discuss and consider bids on tax deed and property cards for trust property in the city of Snyder. These are more of the same of what we did recently. These tax deeds is putting properties back on the tax roll. They've been seized for taxes and getting back on the roll.
I think we should put the originals here for you to sign.
Okay. I'm gonna go over there. 6, 7. There's 7 of them. And there's 9,000. I didn't put together the total amounts that was received on them, but it gets them back on the tax rolls.
I'll make the motion to accept the bids.
Second. All in favor? All right, court to consider and approve specs for golf course grounds maintenance management and blowout proposals. Okay, contract comes up at the end of this year for the company that's providing the grounds maintenance. So, probably time to start preparing for that. So, these, I believe you may have the specs for that. And they do labor, mow the grass, repair leaks, weed eat, maintain greens, fertilize, spray herbicides, insecticides, and sterilants, maintain and repair equipment, water supplies, fuel, and follow all county purchasing procedures, maintain sand traps, plant, trim, and remove trees. They need professional certification, applicator's license, an AA degree in turf grass, landscape management, national golf course experience is required, workers' compensation and liability insurance. And the county will provide contractor fee monthly, all required equipment, funds for repairs, supplies, utilities, and equipment. County equipment, employees, and orange crew is needed when requested and scheduled, and monthly equipment inspections. any of those need to be changed?
If we just follow that.
Right.
I mean, it's fine, but you know, things get lost in the shuffle.
Sure, what are you saying that,
Well, no, I'm fine, I don't care who it is, but the biggest thing I see is equipment repair. And I'm sorry, just because it doesn't work, don't mean you park it into the shed.
sure. Okay.
My point is, and this is aimed at nobody,
Sure,
my guys went out, and, as you know, got one of their mowers that they could use. We've had it at the yard for 2 days. It's ready to go. Wasn't that difficult, but you got to do it.
sure.
You've got to address the issue. So that's my big deal.
Well, that's something that we can really push whenever it comes time for the new contract.
Well, is
If
your
it's-
contract call for them to fix it?
No, sir, it says that,
Maybe that's
well,
one
it said,
reason they're not.
well,
fixing
it does say maintain and repair equipment. However, down at the bottom, we will provide the funds for repair supplies. So, yeah, they need to maintain it. If it does not work, they need to let us know. They need to get it repaired and we will pay for it to get repaired.
Well, I know, yeah, I don't know a lot of things, but I do know trying to find somebody to work on your equipment around here ain't just the easiest thing in the world to do. There's just not that many, so, you know, now I'll agree, we don't need to, just cause it run out of gas, park it over and stop it and don't fix it no more. And don't rocket science to figure that out, but, the last lawnmower we went from the Colorado City to an old man down there. They done a good job, but they just, we had one right on El Paso, right off El Paso back this way for years, and I can't even remember his name. He retired from the pen out there, not in the pen, but from the pen. And he done a dang
Make
good
that-
job. I can't think what his name was.
Down there on 30th Street.
Yeah, he was, well, if you come by the schools and then you turn back on 37th Street, you go down there about, half a block or so, he's on the south side.
Gotcha.
But his knees give out and whatever, and he
Right.
just don't do it no more, so
Okay.
this is, I mean, like I say, they don't need to park it, but it's hard to find somebody.
Sure.
Uh,
Okay.
Well,
I agree with that.
there's a lot of that stuff, it's just like the one we went and got, that some precinct hands can do.
Sure.
All you gotta do is ask. And that's how we ended up with it. And, so, you know, probably saved a ton of money.
Sure. How old was that one?
Hmm.
How old is that one?
It's a 2007 model,
What's wrong with it?
2,500 hours. We probably spent $300 on it.
That's a whole lot cheaper than if you were to send it to somebody.
It would be. And like I said, we keep everything done like the rest of us do in the precinct. Sometimes, you know, when guys need something to do and I'm gonna go find it.
That way. Okay. Well, we got any specs? Do you want to change it at all?
Well, I don't see anything wrong with them.
Judge, I make a motion that we approve the specs that we have and continue to use those and go ahead and go out for proposals for golf course maintenance.
Okay, for a second. All in favor? Okay. We'll continue with those specs. All right, court to discuss and consider renaming the airport road. This has come up recently, and I don't know about renaming the airport road. After putting this on there, some other information's come up. However, where this came up is, we found out recently in the last few months that, I didn't know it. I'm sure some people know this, but I had no clue. There's a lady named Edith Watley McKenna that was from Fluvanna. And she was born in 1899. She died in 1986. I'm going to read this. It might take a minute. But, all right. Edith Watley McKenna, pioneer aviator and independent oil producer, was born about 1899 to Daniel and Elizabeth McGregor Watley on the family farm between Waco and McGregor in McLennan County. While she was small, the family moved to Fluvanna, where relatives had ranching interests since 1880. Her uncle Douglas McGregor was instrumental in Fluvanna's development and was its first postmaster. Her father, who worked as a farmer and water well driller, became owner of the Cross Sea Ranch in Borden and Dawson counties. After completing high school in Fluvanna, Edith attended Sacred Heart Academy in Waco, the Academy of Mary Immaculate in Wichita Falls, and Columbia University. She married James Everett McKenna, an independent oil operator who, with her father, helped develop the shallow Sharon Ridge oil field in the early 1920s. And you're going to recognize some names throughout this that she was instrumental in being a part of, okay? And that's just the first one, Sharon Ridge. Often she accompanied her husband over miles of dirt roads in his Model T during the rush era of the West Texas and Arkansas oil booms. Before McKenna's untimely death in 1932, they had a daughter. Mrs. McKenna became the first woman in Texas to receive a pilot's license and to own her own plane. During her flying career, she logged well over 3,000 flying hours. She became a charter member of the 99 Club, composed of the first 99 women pilots in America. After American entry into World War II, she volunteered for the Civil Air Patrol and donated her plane to the war effort. For 3 years, she served with the rank of captain at the Air Force headquarters as a liaison for the Civil Air Patrol of the United States Army Air Force. In 1945, she returned to Scurry County, organized the Imperial Oil Company, and began securing leases. When her discovery well, the Aussie Buffalo, blew in on the Fuller Field, Edith McKenna became the only woman oil operator in the oil boom that centered around the Canyon Reef Field. By December 1949, she controlled 86,000 acres and had 7 producing wells. She often visited the rig sites on her leases in a white hat and white gloves, a trait she reportedly adopted to let them know a lady was on the site. She never ventured onto the derrick floor, however, since man's work was done there. Time magazine referred to her as the lady in the oil patch in a 1949 article. And in February 1951, Mrs. McKenna was awarded the Scroll of Distinction by Vice President Alvin Barkley as one of 7 of the Southwest's most distinguished women. She developed her Rockledge farm near Fluvanna into a showplace. Mrs. McKenna maintained an interest in Japanese culture. She was a member of Ikebana International, having received a professorship in Ikebana at Saga School in Kyoto, Japan. She organized the Women's Golf Association and was a National Garden Club member. In Scurry County, she was a founder of the Martha Ann's Women's Club, a life member of the Snyder Garden Club, the chairman of the Scurry County Historical Commission, and a director of the Snyder Country Club. She was a leading benefactor of Western Texas College and its Scurry County Museum, to which she donated the Japanese water garden that surrounds the facility. She led in the restoration of the historic Dodson House in conjunction with the Snyder Garden Club and served as its furnishings chairman. Edith McKenna was a charter member and officer of the Ranching Heritage Association in Lubbock. She assisted substantially in the restoration of the Harrell House on the Ranching Heritage Center grounds and gave the furnishings for the McKenna Parlor in memory of her parents at the complex's Orientation Center. She was a Presbyterian. She died at Cogdell Memorial Hospital in Snyder on March 26, 1986, and was buried in Fluvanna Cemetery. This was an impressive lady.
Yeah.
I mean, did you know her?
Yes, yes.
So I had no clue that, that she was so influential.
She's truly a great woman and truly did a lot for the community. And
Yes, ma'am.
It's known far and wide.
Yes, ma'am. I agree. So some of the things that are coming up, there's a group called the 99ers, as we mentioned, all right? They were the first 99 women in the United States who were pilots. Amelia Earhart and some other names were mentioned in that were instrumental in starting this 99ers, and Miss McKenna. They are still active today. So White Buffalo Days in October, they're going to be coming to Scurry County. What they do is they for young girls who are interested, they take them up and fly them so that they can see what it's like. This kind of ties into all of that, you know, as a pilot with more than 3,000 hours and one of the first women pilots in the United States, the first woman pilot in Texas. I think she needs to be honored for all that she's done for Scurry County. Now, when the idea of renaming the road out the airport came up, I thought it was a fantastic idea. However, since then, I hear it's a logistical nightmare with an airport to change the address of the road. So maybe rename something out there, maybe the hangar. Let's name the hangar or something. But Miss McKenna needs to be honored. I've lived in this county for over 30 years, and I didn't know who she was. So I think we need to honor our past heroes, and she is a hero for Scurry County. And so that's just an idea.
Are you saying that it would actually change the address?
It would, yes. Yeah, so it would be, if we changed it, it's Round Rock, right? It would be not just Round Rock, but the FCC, FAA, one of those. It's a logistical nightmare, and then it's on their mapping and all their other stuff. We're all over the place. So it could be a mess to go that way. But if we renamed a hangar or named the building, well, it's Winston Airfield. We changed to Winston. But if we named a hangar or something, that might be one way to honor her. So,
Sounds good.
but this says discuss and consider renaming the airport road. So doesn't offer any more options. So I wanted to at least let everybody know what kind of the direction we're looking at that, and that we do want to honor Miss McKenna. So I think we'll table that for now, but bring it back at a later time.
Judge, I think Mr. Myers had something.
Doesn't 37th turn into a county road once it gets out past the
It's an
city limits?
FM, it's a state
Right.
road, I believe.
FM?
Yes,
What
sir.
about that little short stretch there? Because it dead ends out at, it's not block line, the next one, right?
Yes, 1607,
Something like that.
the Union Ira
Mm-hmm.
road.
Yeah.
But doesn't it just make a little jog and then go on? No, that may be a county road that goes around that.
37 becomes
Right,
1607, just past the school.
and then there's that.
And then it runs into 1609, then it jogs a mile south down 1609 and becomes 1607 again.
What about that stretch right there of 1607?
It's a state road.
Oh,
You have to get the state.
could we petition
approval.
the state?
Possibly. Yes, sir.
I've got an idea. Why don't you make a plaque with some of the things you mentioned and put it inside the main building in there where other pilots can see and stuff?
Yeah.
Cause they just read a hangar name, they're not gonna know nothing.
Sure.
You could have photographs, you could have artifacts and a showcase,
Yes, ma'am.
a display case.
I agree.
And then, don't they gotta get some kind of little museum out there or something?
No, they don't.
No, we didn't approve
We
it.
talked about it. They didn't.
No, that was when the big hangar.
Yeah.
That was some ideas to do with it.
Oh, okay.
It is put in that the only thing that can be in that hangar is operational aircraft.
Right.
It can't be them or nothing.
Right.
And because it was an FAA grant that built it.
I agree with both
She
those
hasn't got a
ideas.
plaque up there for that.
They had to get that.
Yes.
She hasn't got a plaque
Well, they never got to the.
on her,
Oh, they
on
I
her
can't
old
hear
house.
y'all.
Not to my knowledge.
Huh?
It's not to my knowledge.
Ms. Randall, he was asking if, yeah.
I don't think so, cause I think they sold their
I don't think
house.
so.
Did they?
Yeah, she showed it.
Yeah, the house
Yeah.
was sold, so it wouldn't be there.
Sure.
Oh, no.
But we
Couldn't
could,
be there.
I agree, we can do something, and I'd like to get that done before, White Buffalo Days, so that everybody can see what influence Miss McKenna had out here at the airport. So,
She is.
absolutely. Right.
If we so decided in court. once
Sure.
it's-
Yeah, and put some stuff together, like
Museum may have some of her pictures or the copies.
this year month.
Can print them.
So, we're, any other comments on that?
Yeah, a nice place that part. She did.
Yeah.
For it's sold.
So that's something.
You have a drink up there.
Yeah.
Is that where the
Is that where it was?
That's where it was.
That's
Oh, that's it?
Rolling Thunder
It's
was?
the Rolling Thunder?
Oh, is that where that
Our
was?
place
Oh,
right
okay.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
I was fixing to ask where's that now. Look,
And that's right next to my dad's
there.
place.
They have took a lot of her stuff out. She had it real nice.
Right.
There for a
Got a
while.
rock and stuff.
Well, do we need a motion to table this, or
You can just take off action.
we just take no action on it? All right, court to consider certification of additional revenues in the form of proceeds from other counties for housing inmates.
Okay, today I'm certifying $114,830 from some of the other counties. Taylor County and Edgar County are the main ones on this. This will bring the total of certified revenue from prisoner keep up to $336,686.75 that we brought in addition to the budgeted amount year to date for the prisoner keep. There will be a budget amendment along with that. Can we go into the other one, or you want to accept this one first?
I'll go ahead and do the other.
There is also additional revenue from TAC, and it's the 2018 surplus. This is insurance proceeds that from claims throughout the pool of the entire state of counties that are involved in the TAC insurance pool. Once the claims have been all dispersed out and paid out, then whatever's left, they will dividend out to the counties. Thankfully, we are part of that because our claims were actually higher than the amount that we paid in. So we were still able to get a disbursement on that. And that's an amount of $8,674.72.
So you make a motion that we certify the additional revenues. As presented.
All in favor? Okay, consider approval of line item transfers and budget amendments.
I have one budget amendment. It is for the jail. It is in total of $168,131.25, which covers all the general payroll, Social Security, retirement, workers' comp, unemployment, and medical insurance for the 3 additional jailers that he brought on to house the prisoners.
Right.
This will have everything. We have paid SHP $100,768.51 out of the excess revenue, and now we've collected everything for the 3 jailers that we hired. So we have an additional $21,393 excess left out of our extra revenue that we brought in.
To this point.
Everything's paid.
Okay, and from this point.
So we have to pay the jailers.
Did you make a motion that we approve the budget amendment for the jail?
Second that.
All in favor? Okay. And then account payable.
Accounts payable for the past week, $69,535.51.
Make a motion we pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor? I'm gonna give an opportunity for anybody who would like to make any comments at this time. Okay,
Did you make a motion to adjourn?
second? All in favor? All right, thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. I did.
You did.
And your mother too.
Lovely.
Let's get on the phone.